Joe Budden reveals his co-hosts are at odds with each other and are secretly beefing. That's right, y'all. On a recent Patreon episode of the Joe Budden podcast, Joe revealed that his co-hosts aren't exactly seeing eye to eye. I'm talking Melyssa Ford versus Flip. I'm talking Ish and Ice versus Melyssa Ford and Flip. And they weren't feeling his new announcement of Mark Lamont Hill, the guy who he's added to the cast. On top of this, there seems to be friction between Joe and Flip, as on the episode he was saying that, hey, Flip came back, he should have been suspended. So there's something going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of tension over there at that couch in Jersey. Now, this episode started off very, very contentious because it started off like a intervention of Flip, another Flip intervention. For those of you that don't know, Flip is insanely problematic but entertaining. So Joe Budden has afforded him a lot of luxuries of being able to curse him out and threaten him to fights, and also taking random days off. Well, after 2 weeks of vacation, it was revealed that there was another transgression for which Flip could have been suspended for. My guess is maybe he was late, or he was just acting crazy and trying to have things his way. And it got so bad that you even see Flip try to get in his manipulative bag by saying, hey man, y'all really understand me? Y'all let me get away with a lot. Y'all be cool with me and all that stuff. But I don't know. I think Flip is wearing thin over at the JBP, and he swears that improper improv is coming back. But I've been thinking, how can improper improv come back if Flip is so problematic? Because if Flip does improper improv, he's going to use it as leverage to negotiate something else on the network. He's probably going to use improper improv to garner views and make everything fun at the network and then take it away. But very dangerous proposition. But then something happens later in the Patreon episode when Joe Budden talks about the transgressions going on behind the scenes. He calls out members of the show for not being excited about Mark Lamont Hill being announced. And they were like, oh man, I was about to edit that out because y'all just looked tight. Y'all was looking mad in the face. Y'all was looking very angry. And then Joe starts to reminisce about how when he added other people to the show like Melyssa Ford and Flip, that Ice and Ish weren't exactly feeling the arrival of Flip and Melyssa Ford. And I think that's pretty true. At the time I was studying it, it seemed like the biggest pushback initially was Flip, because Flip was being very disruptive. He was challenging Ish's blackness by saying, hey man, you date white women, how can you really be for the cause? And later on, it would be Melyssa Ford. They didn't like Melyssa Ford that much. But in the beginning, Flip was the disruptive party. But then Joe drops a bombshell. He says that Flip and Melyssa Ford have turned on each other. Now, I did a space recently where I was like, hey man, this seems to be the case. Flip and Melyssa Ford, watch them. Watch them on the pod. Go watch them. When the two are talking, they don't really interact with each other like they used to. They kind of let them just say their piece and move on. Now, I don't know what exactly happened, because as recently as a month or so ago, they did a skit. They was in a car, and it seemed like things were cool. What could have happened behind the scenes? There was that whole Diddy conversation where Flip seemed like a bit of a monster with the way he was talking about how, in the past I used to do this, and it's crazy how Diddy's going to jail for that, and he should get bail. And Melyssa Ford was like, you disgusting pig. That's what she was looking at him like. And a lot is being revealed, and let me know what you think happened between Melyssa Ford and Flip in the comments. Now, I know a lot of people don't get along with each other on the pod, and yes, they say, I'm your brother, I'm your sister, I ride with you, there's no pause for the cause. But even though Ish, I don't think, cares for Melyssa Ford, at least when she talks, he'll talk a little bit. But Flip and Melyssa Ford seem to have no dialogue. It's giving major Gina and Martin Lawrence the last few seasons of The Martin Show. So we're going to have to look at that. We're going to have to see what happens. And I also wanted to end my video by saying Jaywan, after an initial start of looking pretty fun, like a new fun co-host, looks like he's having a rough adjustment. He's getting exposed a bit. Some of his jokes aren't landing. He's looking a little bit insane when he makes points. and he can't really stand on what he's saying. I mean, he went on the podcast and was like, hey, man, J. Cole needs to put the phone down. He needs to stop answering to the internet folks. But he doesn't do that on his own regard. He'd be on the internet acting crazy. And then even Joe Budden started to make fun of Jaywan. I don't know if Jaywan's prepared for that. I don't know if Jaywan can handle that. And I noticed in this Patreon episode when they were talking about the whole situation with Mark Lamont Hill and how the cast was feeling some type of way, Jaywan stood quiet. When they were talking about Flip, he stood quiet. And I think it's because Flip told him off. When Jaywan first got there was an episode that got so heated that Joe had to remove it from the Patreon. At any time something is removed from an episode, that's no longer COE. Right? Content over everything means whatever happens, if it's entertaining, you leave it in. And anytime they reveal that they took something out, whether it be Manny and Ish's argument, whether it be Flip and Joe almost fighting, and now Flip cursing Jaywan clean out, that means things are happening behind the scenes. It's not COE. It's HBO. No, it's not COE. It's JBP. And Jaywan is just struggling. I think he was supposed to be the initial voice for the young people, but that voice doesn't have much range. And I don't think cast members on the show really respect it because he doesn't have the argumentative techniques. He doesn't have the experience to really articulate his points. All he does is do the I'm the young man, I'm the young bro. You don't understand. But let me know what you think. I know Flip is doing lives talking about his contract is up in February. He doesn't know what he's going to do. I think he should leave. I'm not feeling him on the pod no more. I don't think he's feeling himself on the pod no more. Melyssa Ford and Flip are at odds. Mark Lamont Hill is being added. I don't even know how he plays into this new cast. There's the Bionic 6. Now it's the Super 8. And they're not as engaging. But we'll see. I think there's hopes for Mark Lamont Hill. Only time will be revealed. So to summarize, Flip is beefing with Melyssa Ford. Flip almost got suspended again for a transgression that happened behind the scenes after his vacation. Joe Budden added Mark Lamont Hill, and he said he added Mark Lamont so everyone could get one day off. And he said it like in a really passive-aggressive, oh, you guys need one day off. You little pamby guys, you need one day off here. I got Mark Lamont Hill. How you like them apples? And Ish and Ice were quiet while that was being said. But follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to the Patreon so you can see the full conversation. I know a lot of people in the comments be like, Danny, that's not what happened. Well, do you know I'm just giving my interpretation of what happened? It's literally me speaking to you about what happened. It's how I see it, but my insights are ones based on years of knowledge about the JBP. So if you want to go watch the Patreon, go watch it. I encourage you to pay $25 so you can pay for Joe Budden's IG model girly to brag about Chanel and brag about how she got a bigger TV than you and talk about how much doper she is than you because she's tied to the Podfather. Subscribe to it. Do it. All right, y'all. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.